that he was the begotten Son of God and eternally existed. So that's the first thing. He eternally existed.
Does the Bible actually say he eternally existed? Where does it say that?
You can read it in the book of John. It says that he was before all things, and in him all things are created.
Through him, not by him.
Through him, all things are created. But yes, that he existed before the world was made.
Does it say that anyway?
If the world is created through him, if he's the agency of creation.
Agency, precisely. But he's not the source though. Use your words carefully, you see.
Well, I don't
because if you're saying an agency, that implies he's a conduit. He's not the actual source. Like when Jesus says, "For unto us there is one God." I mean, in 1 Corinthians chapter 8.
Well, I'll give you a bit more of the Bible.
Yeah.
It says, you heard it before. It says, "He was in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us." And it was that Word that gave life to the world. So Jesus is actually substance of creation. He's in him all things are created. As it says in New Testament.
Well, through him, but not by him. I've already made that point out to you. John 1:1 doesn't mean he's God. All it says is that the Word is expressed and personified in the form of the Word of God. So it doesn't actually state Jesus there. In the beginning was the Word. I want you to consider one more thing before I just try to dissect that. I may give you a try.
Go for it.
So in the beginning was the Word.
Yes.
So you believe the Word is Jesus.
Yes.
And the Word was with God.
Yes.
So by definition, it implies that he cannot be God, because if he's the Word and he's with God, these are two separate beings, you see. Number one. Number two is that if you didn't persist in saying in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, then you're basically saying that the Word, who is Jesus, is God, who is the Father, which is a heresy according to your belief. Because you don't believe that Jesus is the Father. So if you're insisting by saying the Word was God, that means you're saying that the Word, who is Jesus, is the Father. In the beginning was the Word. Just check. I'll go through it slowly. It's called the fallacy of equivocation. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is Jesus, and the Word was with God. So you got the Word Jesus and the Word was with. So you got two separate entities. God is described as that, and so that you would commonly understand as the Father, and the Word was God. Meaning you're basically saying the Word, which is Jesus, is the Father, which is a heresy. You don't believe that. You believe there are three distinct people in one person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So all it is, John 1:1 is saying, in effect, that, and then if you read the REV version of that, it says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was what God was. And that means the expression of God is the Word.
First of all, I accept what you say. I've heard that explanation many times before, but the grammar and the lexical analysis of all those words that you mentioned does not conjure what that means.
Why not?
So I think that is not what that means. One, the word. Okay, I don't have. All
you made mention of lexicons, so I just like your
all the words. If we take the dictionary of all those words, what God means and what God says, and where God was, does not convey what you just said. But that's an honest opinion of what you've said. But that's not what the Bible actually says. Now I explain. In the beginning, first of all, no one there, but God. Now, who wrote that? The author John.
Yeah.
He wrote that having been eyewitness of Jesus himself. So first of all, he's the eyewitness. John is the eyewitness of Jesus himself.
That's not John's words, are they? This is a prologue to John. Is it not? Notice the word. That is actually a prologue. Prologue.
What do you mean?
A prologue. I explain to you.
I disagree.
I'll explain to you then. So John's Gospel went through different stages of edition and redaction. There were 3 different authors to John's Gospel. That's the common Christian understanding.
No, I don't think so, because he says,
well,
that's not the Bible. I'm sorry, that's not the Bible. But I hear you saying,
it's the Bible. I'm referring.
You've got some technical queries.
Yes.
I understand you've got some technical queries. About translation, about authorship, about authenticity. But that's not correct. John is the author of the Bible. It says it in the front. So you're disagreeing with what it says in the title. The author, the apostle of that book is John. He's the writer. Yes, we can talk about where the manuscripts have come from. We can talk about how the manuscripts were viewed by the early church and people around that time.
But we're at the moment we're discussing John 1:1. So John 1:1 are not John's words.
One more thing. Now we can do this forever.
No, but you agree with that. But do you agree with that point?
No, wait, let me carry on.
You said John's gospel was written by John. No, I'm listening to you.
You asked me a technical issue.
Yeah,
not a spiritual one. You asked me a technical issue.
I didn't ask you a spiritual issue.
You said A, B don't exist.
Yes.
C, D don't exist. Okay, now I wouldn't do that to your Quran. I wouldn't say.
No, but I'm just highlighting the verse.
Wait. I wouldn't say A, B don't exist. I wouldn't say Ali and Muhammad don't exist.
I didn't say that
that's
the existence.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say the translator of the Quran got it wrong, because that's not for me to say right now. So what I'm saying is this: there's errors in your Quran also,
bring
where you don't agree with how secondary issues were created. Now you've got to accept it, because I've read that many times before.
Read what?
That in the translation of the Quran itself, there's schools of thought that differ from each other.
No, but what exactly you got to make a rep? You can't make a generic statement. What we're discussing specifically is John 1:1. You said to me, I'll just recap the conversation. You said to me that John 1:1 is evidence of who Christ is. I then gave a breakdown of what that word means, because in effect it doesn't actually mention Jesus by name there. That's number one point.
That's not true. That's not true.
What do you mean?
This is not true.
Jesus is.
All this is not
so
true.
where does it say the beginning was Jesus and Jesus was with God?
I tell you what I think.
Do you accept what I've just said?
We're not going to the Bible on this. We're not going to the Bible on this.
Well, I thought we were discussing John 1:1.
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying you're talking about a technical issue. Now it clearly says these things, that it was written by someone who has eyewitness accounts of Jesus Christ.
And what does that conclude in John 20? John 20 states that John says that I have written these things so that you may know that Jesus is the Messiah. He doesn't say I've written all these chapters so that you know that Jesus is God. But we believe, as you're aware, I'm assuming, that Jesus is the Messiah.
Again, that's not true. Again, that's not true.
No, but what's not true about what I've said?
Well, first of all, the word Messiah means Meshach.
Yeah,
God's anointed one. There's many names for Messiah. One of his Meshach. It means he was the promised Redeemer of Israel. Okay, it was the unction of God Himself coming and rescuing His own people. Okay, but that's a key.
Where does it say God was coming and rescuing His people? Well, show me the evidence. I mean, you made a claim.
I'll leave you with the Old Testament.
Come on, if you're so clear.
That's a technical issue again.
It's not technical. You made a cite. You made a point. Cite the evidence. 5 minutes,
yeah.
Yes.
I have not disagreed with your Quran once.
We haven't spoken about the Quran.
But I have not. That's you again. What are you doing then?
No, initially.
What are you doing then?
Okay, let me explain to you.
So what's your guys?
Right, I asked you.
You're smiling. So what's your guys?
Okay, so here's your answer. I asked you a question about what the term son of.
You asked me a technical issue.
No, I asked you what the son.
You said A and B don't exist.
I didn't say that. It's been. Do you mind if first of all this has been recorded?
You can't even vouch what you said in your own mosque. Someone will disagree with you.
No, let me explain.
Someone will disagree with you.
About what?
Everything you just said. You've got to take the Bible for what it says. You've got this. Let's explain something here. I'll take your Quran for what it says. You've got to take. I'm on camera.
Yeah,
you've got to take the Bible.
Yeah, but that's what we're disputing.
No,
so when you cited John 1, one moment.
Do you think the Bible is correct?
We say there's errors, but there is some truth as well. But there is some truth.
That's a technical issue.
That's not a technical issue.
What's the error then?
Because
what's the error on a computer?
Error is something which is not true.
No, it's a technical. On a computer, I said. On that thing, what's the error? If it don't work, it's a technical issue.
Okay.
You have to fix it.
All right. So let's just recap that. I asked you, what does Son of God mean? You went off on a long preamble, which I didn't have a clue what you're talking about. And you essentially said he's a prophetic Messiah from the Old Testament. I then said to you, define to me what the Son of God means.
What did I say? The Son of God said. I said he always existed.
That's all I said. Son of God. This is what I was trying for you to understand.
No, that's
if you read
Matthew. I said Jesus. I said it was a prophetic word that Jesus always existed in heaven.
But he doesn't say that anywhere. That's what I'm asking. And you bring forth then what you said then. Bring the evidence. That's what we say. Bring the evidence.
You can say.
I'm actually studying you as you're talking because I'm having fun. I talk to lots of Muslims all the time.
Good, fantastic.
Initially, I'm on YouTube with you guys already.
Okay, so Son of God. Let me explain to you what Son of God means then. Who would you respect? Son of God means the following.
I think we're
can I make a 10-second point?
No,
okay.
We're miscommunicating.
Okay, let me just make.
I've met your friends here at Spears Corner, okay? And they wait. Let me finish. I hear you, bro. I hear you, Mustafa. Now, I've seen them pull out manuscripts and say Mark was written AD 40 or 37 or 60 or 80.
75.
Technical issue again, but it's true.
Well, that's what most. It's not technical. Most scholars say Mark was written 70 AD. What's so technical about that?
Christian scholars.
Yeah, not me.
I did say, but
You said 37, 40, 45. No, it wasn't.
Reading. That's my reading. Don't worry about my reading. Don't worry about it. I read lots of books about AD. So don't worry about it. But anyway, we know when it was written. We have some understanding of when it was written. And what I'm saying is, your friends say, pull out all these manuscripts, and they're well read about when books were around.
But what's that got to what we're discussing? I asked you what the Son of God means.
Because
you went around and said to me it means Messiah.
What
it
I'm
means
saying is,
an eternal prophet who is eternally existing.
No,
I said. Then I said to you,
Yeah.
let the Bible define itself what the term Son of God means, and you're given the answer in Matthew chapter 5 verse 9. It says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God." It's a ubiquitous title for those who represent God.
Let me ask you a question.
No,
do you
have
agree
you
with what you said?
Before
do you agree with that? Do you agree with that verse?
With what we
Do you agree with that verse, or do you think there's fault in that verse?
I think, let me explain to you then. You've asked a specific question.
Okay.
So that verse is defining what a son of God means, one who represents God. Because you have many other sons of God, as you're fully aware, in the Bible. So definitively, a son of God is one who...
Not true.
Okay then. So who is Adam in Luke 3:38?
Not true. Not begotten son of God.
Okay, what about David in Psalms chapter 2 verse 7?
Let me help you. That means prophet. Prophet.
But where does it say that?
It does mean prophet.
Where does it say that?
Adam is a prophet. That's why.
Yes, I agree. So is Jesus.
Let me explain.
Mark chapter 6
what
verse
gives
4.
Adam authority? What if he's called the son of God?
Right.
What gives him authority in your book, in my book?
Yep.
The fact he's a prophet.
Because
He's
son of God
prophet.
is synonymous with the title prophet. These are analogous terms. Prophet, son of God, Messiah. If you read the Dead Sea Scrolls,
No, we'll back on ourselves.
if you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, the term, listen to me, my friend, I'm explaining to you very carefully. I want you just to pause for a moment. You don't have to agree, but just listen to what I've got to say.
No, but
So I've
there's something
explained to
we
you
failed to
the
do.
term son of God literally means one who represents God. So how do I make that conclusion? I'll give you the definition in Matthew chapter 5 verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God.
That's not the grammar.
That is the grammar. Of course it is.
It's not.
It's in Matthew.
I'll leave that with you. Get a
You're leaving a lot of stuff with me, but you're not getting anywhere, are we?
Get a lexicon
I've
and
got-
read.
yeah.
Son, that word son
Yes.
of Jesus and the one son is two different Greek words.
No, what are you talking about?
Alright, you're gonna,
Okay, elaborate. Okay, elaborate. You made a claim. I didn't
I
make the
don't have
claim.
all that my Strong's concordance numbers with me, but I've read it personally, and it's a technical issue that we have here.
Okay.
Now, I think it's important that we understand that we must stick to the Quran, and we must stick to the Bible, and we must be sure of what we say in the Quran and sure of what we say in the Bible. I want to go against your Quran. But
I'm not going against your Quran. I'm just letting you. I'm letting you. But I've read it. That's the thing. That's why I'm making these general statements. So I'm just asking you a question.
I'm saying politely.
I asked you politely. What is the term "son of God" mean according to the Bible? I was trying to get understanding of what you understood. Then you.
I said what it meant.
You never really.
You disagree with the Bible.
But I've given
That's the
you the
difference.
definition from your Bible what the term "son of God" means. One who represents God, my
We can
friend.
talk about the Quran. I mean, the Quran has all these things in there.
Like
There's-
what?
there's
Before you make a claim,
what I said,
substantiate the point.
What I say is there's disagreements amongst Muslims. I'm not saying errors. I'm not saying conflict. I'm not saying fights or wars. I'm saying there's educated disagreements
About what? You've got to be specific, my friend.
I went to a Quranic conference, Summits, yeah.
Okay.
And one speaker says this, another speaker
But
says
elaborate
that.
the point. Says what you.
I went through 4 or 5 different six talks. I can't remember all.
What was the subject matter? What was the subject matter?
15 years ago I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter. What is the subject matter?
Okay, I'll go for it. Quran is epic. Okay, Quran is epic. What does that mean?
Quran is what?
Quran. It was the title of the talk was Quran is epic.
As epic.
As epic. What does it mean?
Right.
It's meaning epicenter of London.
Right.
Becoming the epicenter of London.
Right.
Okay. So what does that mean? What would I take from that myself?
That means that the Quran is being well spread out amongst Londoners.
Yes, it means that we're going to translate the Quran
Yes.
and work it through community,
Right.
work it through society, work
Okay.
it through business,
Yeah.
until it becomes a mold that we can all relate to.
Okay, fine. So what's wrong with that?
No, well, I was explaining something about what I meant.
But you meant I wanted
what
you to
what I said
specify.
was there's schools of thought. Now, in that conference,
Yeah.
different people put their hands up.
Yes.
And some Muslims disagreed what the speaker said. Now, all I'm saying with me and you today is that you're talking about a school of thought, not necessarily the essence of what the Bible has said.
So what has it said? So what has the Bible?
I said something
What
clear.
is the essence of the Bible?
I said Jesus always existed.
But then I've asked
As
you.
the Son of God, he has divine nature, and that's all I said. That's all I said. And
So
you
then-
said no, he doesn't.
So I then said to you, define to me what Son of God means. I then explained to you it's a ubiquitous
I've
title.
got a cab to catch.
Okay, nice speaking to you.
If
No,
I
okay.
have some more time,
No, it's
we see
cool.
each other again.
Okay, nice one. Thank you. Take care. So, a interesting conversation, shall we say, with respect to our Christian friend who was all over the place, shall we say. And that's all we can do. May Allah guide him, inshallah. But we can see from the argumentation that they raise that they don't really seem to know if they're coming or going in terms of their belief. So let's make dua for him. That's all one can say. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Chacha.